Hello, my name is Tarmack, and let me show you Dark Souls 3. So, I've been waiting for this for a while, but before we get into the actual stuff, the meat and potatoes, I guess you could say, I want to talk a little bit about what the Let Me Show You will be of this. We're not going to be doing any story spoilers, anything along those lines. We're going to see basically the first boss, but the first boss is seen really quite literally just a few enemies into the game. It's really, really quick, so that's not really that big of a deal. And other than that, the options and performance section will be at the end of the video, or at the back end of it. So there'll be a link in the description where if that's what's important to you, you can go ahead and click that and off you go. So, as I said, I've been waiting for this for a little while. However, I was informed that I'm not allowed to play Dark Souls 3 until I have finished Dark Souls 1, which I did about 2 weeks ago, actually. I was not quite there, not quite getting through it. Artorias was kind of kicking my ass, as he is commonly doing to people, which is sort of unfortunate. But I managed to finish it off. It's great. It was a lot of fun, a great challenge, and all that kind of wonderful stuff. And Dark Souls 3, thus far, is the same way. Now, before that, I had also beaten Bloodborne, so I've got a little bit of experience, at least in understanding some of the changes that have come along since Dark Souls 1. Some of the lessons that FromSoft has learned from it as well. So, one thing that you'll notice about the game is that the mobility just seems so much quicker than it used to be in Souls 1 and whatnot. And that's because they learned a lot of lessons from Bloodborne. They really did, right? Bloodborne is a very, very mobile game. You know, it's all about the fast movement and whatnot. Ah, hell. And Dark Souls 3 is a lot more about that than it was, in Dark Souls 1, where it was mostly just, I guess depending on what kind of character you had. Of course, if you were a Dex character or something like that, there was a lot more potential for you to be a fast-moving, dodging, crazy person. But even then, the dodging felt a little bit clunky. It always felt clunky, at least to me. Even if you're not slow rolling or anything along those lines. So, what do we have? Well, it plays the same as Dark Souls 1 does otherwise. I mean, you'll notice it looks the same from a UI perspective, right? You've got your health, your stamina, all of that kind of fancy stuff. You've got your Estus Flask down in the bottom left. And you'll notice we've also got ourselves a new bar over Dark Souls 1. Now, I haven't played Dark Souls 2, so whether this is in there or not, I don't want to go and make claims. But you have two different Estus Flasks, right? You've got your regular and then your Ashen. The Ashen restores your FP rather than your HP. Fancy schmancy. Character creation is, honestly, too damn complicated. For a game like this, where you're going to be... Of course, maybe I should try not getting hit. For a game like this, where you're going to be staring at the back of an armored head for the majority of it, I really don't know the value in picking the color of your character's beard or anything along those lines. But that's fine. They put a lot of that kind of stuff in there. You have a lot of different options. Everything from, again, hair color, the face style, body composition, whether it's muscular and all of that kind of crazy shenanigans nonsense. But to me, it's just really not something that's very important, especially for a game of this type. So, the dodge rolling, as I mentioned, it feels like, I don't know, it feels like there's just more intricacy to it. You can dodge roll, it feels like it in a tighter circle, in a tighter, when you're trying to go around bosses and whatnot. It just feels better. Everything about the game feels better. And that includes weapon swinging, right? So you hit them with that sword and it feels nice and solid. Everything's got weight to it. And that is a blast. That's really quite nice. I am a fan of that for sure. So the difficulty as well is just as crushing as you would expect. Oh, I missed that jump. That's too bad. So, let's go take a look at the first boss, which again, as you've noticed, we've only just killed a few of these guys so far, and we're already here, ready and raring to go. You also notice that we start with our 3 Estus, which I'm used to many more than that. All right, my friend. Let us see what you have to offer. We shall remove this giant-ass sword and see what our friend here has to say about it. Now, everything in it is difficult still, as you would expect. But one thing that a lot of people haven't really taken into account is that if this is your first Souls game, then you know what? Yeah, it's going to be a lot more difficult. That's just how it is. Now, of course, I'm going to make sure that I don't do a good job of dealing with this boss fight. Just to prove that, oh hey, it's really, really difficult. Now, the problem that I have is that I only have 1 Estus left. This is not good, you see? But that's fine. We can totally take him. Or we will be introduced to the monstrosity. My God. Isn't that fun? So, the difficulty is special. Now, I got my ass handed to me there. And part of that will be due to... that was the second time I fought that boss. The first time I fought him, I killed him handily. Now, I'm also, you know, sitting here in front of a computer talking on a microphone, trying to at least be somewhat educational. But it's hard, but it's not unmanageably hard. But at the same time, you can imagine if that was your first experience with Dark Souls, you've never played anything else, you know, and we've all had this, right? Everybody that's played one of these games has had that moment where it just, it takes you by complete surprise and smacks your face into a cliff and just makes you feel like, you know what, maybe you're not that good of a gamer. I know, I've had those those moments plenty of times. Now, all of the same basic mechanics that you're used to are still here. You can still attack from behind. You can still parry, assuming I can actually pull it off. Come on, take your swing. Okay, hang on. Let's make sure that this is not going to get me killed. Now, the really silly thing, for those of you familiar with Dark Souls 1, I parried my way through the final boss. So, I'm still working on the timing, as you can see. Unbelievable. Isn't this great? Alright, we're just going to skip that part. But anyways, yes, you can parry. You can do all of those fancy things. There's sorcery. There's the different, the cleric side of the house as well, the faith side, rather. All of the different things that you have come to expect in your wonderful, exciting Souls games. So, other than that, though, one thing that you may have noticed, having seen some of this so far, is that, my God, this is a gorgeous game. It is really, really pretty, I have to say. And now, to be fair, again, I'm coming from Dark Souls 1 and Bloodborne. So Bloodborne looked really good, but it's a PlayStation 4 game, right? There's only so good that it can look. That's kind of how that works. And how good it can perform. But this is gorgeous. Absolutely phenomenal. And I also have to say, so far, I'm having a really good time with it. Let's try this boss again here real quick. Got our 3 Estus, that's all fine and good. See if we can pull this off. Like, look at the water. It's just fantastic. Alright. So, he telegraphs his hand. He does that fantastic sort of fake attack. I love it. It's great. Okay. Yeah, that was the one. Did it again. Okay. We can do this. We've got this. No problem. Oh, maybe not. Now again, I do not claim to be an amazing Souls player by any stretch of the imagination. But I have fun with it. I'm persistent, which really is the most important trait that you could possibly have. In any Souls game, persistence, of course, is key. Alright. So it would appear that left is the direction of choice with this particular one. And down he goes, my friends. The heir of fire has been destroyed. Get yourself a coiled sword. Now, the ember restored thing, I haven't actually figured this part out yet. So, there seems to be a fair number of new items that you'll run into throughout that may confuse you at first. You have to take a look at the descriptions and whatnot. Now, other than that, again, the game is very gorgeous. So let's talk about performance and options. Performance, so far, I've been having absolutely zero problems with the performance of the game. Now, I've been kind of keeping an eye on forums and Reddit and, Steam and whatnot. There are a lot of people that are having significant frame rate problems in Dark Souls 3. And that's terribly unfortunate. I feel for them. It is not happening when you're dealing with a GTX 970, as you would expect. Now, I'm playing on max, so this game looks great and it plays great. But again, some of the problems that I've seen, people having issues with things like the higher-end older cards, so like a GTX 680. Yeah, it's an older card, but again, they should not be having problems running the game on low, say, for example. Generally speaking, there have been some significant issues. People are also claiming that there are some serious crashes that are going on. I've played for about 4 hours now combined as of the time of this recording. Not a single crash. Not a single significant frame rate drop. We're sitting at 60 frames per second. I've had it drop down to like 58, 57, 55 for like a half second before hopping back up again. It performs smoothly. Everything is great. So I don't know. I don't know how to really deal with that kind of a complaint structure. I don't want to say that they're not, those problems don't exist, but I'm not having them. It's not an issue that I've run into. So what problem did I have? Well, I decided I was going to buy this on Steam. So I preloaded it. And the Steam preload decided it was going to take forever and ever and ever to unpack, to the point where it told me it was going to take more than a year to unpack the game. Obviously not ideal, not intended functionality. So I just couldn't get past it. I ended up having to actually wipe out all of the files and then re-download everything, which was faster than it would have been to actually unpack the whole bloody thing. So, such is the way it goes, I suppose. But man, look at that. Like, it's just gorgeous. The sun rays and everything is just amazing looking. Okay, options side of the house. So, over in our display options, you have your full screen and your windowed mode, your various resolutions, as you would expect. Quality setting that you can pick in your basic 4 categories, or you can go into advanced, dealing with your anti-aliasing, SSAO, depth of field, motion blur. I really should turn the motion blur off, actually, now that I'm taking a look through here. Shadow quality, lighting effects, reflection, water surface, all of that wonderful sort of stuff. Now, as far as key bindings, you can rebind your keys, including your controller keys. So I'm playing this on a DualShock 4. I'm using the DS for Windows to make that happen. I tried it with a keyboard and mouse. It's better than Dark Souls 1 was with a keyboard and mouse. It's not good, but it's better. So I guess that depends on what your preference is, but this is a controller game. That's really what it comes down to. But it is nice to be able to play the game or play a Souls game without dealing with the DS fix kind of nonsense and shenanigans that go along with that. I quite enjoy that particular part of it. Now, other than that, we have a couple of other things, again, relating to some of the matchmaking that you can change some of these options, allowing you to take cross-region play, which is, you know, again, if you want to deal with higher latency and whatnot. Your brightness, your not safe for work filters or not safe for children, your blood and whatnot, and of course, music sliders. And that's really what we've got. We've got a game that, for me, performs very well. I have had, again, no performance issues whatsoever. I cannot claim that is the same for everybody. At least not from what I've seen. But it's fun. It's fast. It's hard. It is going to kick your ass because that's the way it works, and you're going to have to be persistent. And anybody, you know what? Anybody can beat a Souls game. Absolutely anybody can, because it's fair. For the most part, it's fair. You just have to learn. You have to get better. And to a certain extent, you can kind of out-level things as you play, assuming that you don't waste those souls every time you die. But other than that, I'm having a really good time with it so far. So the game came out on the 11th of April. It's $59.99 US. The actual launch date is the 12th, but it was out at 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time today, the 11th. Dark Souls 3 from Software. Miyazaki's back, kicking ass and taking names and all that sort of wonderful stuff. The game is available on Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and the PC via Steam. If you have the choice of those three, I mean, come on, look at this. I think the choice is pretty clear. You think it's going to look like that on an Xbox or a PlayStation? No, it's not. I promise you. Anyways, that's all I got for you. My name is Tarmack. Thank you very much for watching this little video of Dark Souls 3. Cheers. I'll see you for the next one. Bye-bye.